How's everything going with the defense? How do you feel about it? Just are you happy? And just again, I know it's early in camp, but where are you at?
I'm good. I mean, I don't have to tackle anybody. Personally, I feel good. But with developing our defense, it's I don't want to feel good right now. I mean, I see a lot of promising things, but it's my job at this time to really keep the pressure on, keep the pedal to the metal, and I don't want to feel good. Players should feel good. I point things out to them that we're doing well. We talk about getting better every day. I point things out that we got to get better at, and it's constant growth. So now with the pads on, we're starting to add in the toughness factor, and that's critical because no matter what we do scheme-wise, we're going to have to line up and win one-on-one. So I feel like our defensive line, the rushmen, a lot of depth, a lot of guys coming off the ball. We do third down, 7-on-7. It's a lot different than third down, with two lines in there because our D line, when we unleash them, and we're going to find ways to unleash them, they get after the quarterback. They get after it in the run game. I think between Tommy and Steele have been really solidifying things at linebacker. I like Cody and Taraja mixing in, and Chip and CJ, and EA's been kind of a float-around guy for us. I feel like we have potential there for depth, but still developing. D-line is they're in and out, back and forth, and it really doesn't matter who's in there because we're aggressive and attacking. Seeing the safeties show up as they learn the system, like a guy like Lathan, who I did not get a chance to be around much, he's great at pulling his trigger. I mean, like, he can see things and really react. So he's been a pleasant, not a surprise. I'm just saying it's great to see him in there because, between Proctor and Ronnie and Tanner and Cam took some reps at corner today. I think Jansen took some reps at corner. We've been a little banged up at corner, So, and particularly with our corners and safeties, we're going against the most elite receiving core and passing attack in the country. So, that competition is always ongoing, and it's always going to be something where we're striving to reach that level. But we'd rather be in those matchups now because I feel like whatever we get during the season, our guys are going to be prepared for because in the passing game, they're getting matched up all the time against the best in the country.
Jim, is that situation at corner a long-term concern or just something you deal with in camp?
I think it's long term, right? I think we're going to have to keep those guys fresh. What are there, six scholarship guys, I believe, right? So we're going to have to dual train, like Jansen, Cam. There are guys that we're going to have to dual train because you're going to get corners who run all the time, back and forth. You're going to get, the soft tissue injuries, and they need to, we need to be fresh. So I feel like it's definitely something that we are keeping our eye on and trying to make sure that we get multiple guys there, repetitions.
Do you think Jordan will be back soon?
That's above my pay grade.
You mentioned Cody Simon. Obviously, he's hurt for last year. What have you seen from him?
I've seen, Cody has great football acumen, great football intelligence. He's tough. He knows that he's learned the defenses, even though he didn't get to play in spring, but he's been around it. I mean, play as much or as full go as he would have liked to have been in the spring. So all I'm seeing with Cody now are just some issues in timing, and because timing is so important when you're making tackles. Just him kind of getting the rust off, but I really like what I've seen so far.
Where is Lathan playing? You mentioned
Lathan's been playing all three of our safety positions. You know, we're really trying to find a way to get him involved, along with Court. Right, Court is a guy who is really doing well, and we're trying to find ways to get him involved. So you may see some packaging. You may see some packaging with different safeties in the game, because of the way I feel like Lathan and Court are coming along, particularly in the run game. You could see some packaging with those guys, you know, because they can play.
You got a chance to see practice a couple of times. You had two separate safety groups, and there were two separate linebacker groups. One may be more like playmaking group, another one more like do your job. And why take that approach when you're trying to develop guys?
I don't think it was like as you described. I feel like it's just the way we kind of split things up for teaching, but it's not like that. Not that philosophy.
Jim, when you describe the sort of push and pull of installation in the spring, is that the same for a training camp, or how do you handle it?
Yeah, we have to keep going full steam ahead. It's a good question. So we go full steam ahead. We may tweak the plan a little bit as we go along, but we don't have the luxury that you have in the spring to just say, hey, let's push one day, pull back the next. Push one day, pull back the next. Can't do that right now. We're push. Maybe a little bit lighter push, but then push. So we're not backing off.
You talked about having a safety-driven defense. Why is that position group so important for the team?
Well, when you adjust to the college game and how spread and all the speed that's on the field, you need to be multiple in your disguises, looks, coverages, where safeties fit in the run game. And in order to do that, you need a bunch of fast, athletic guys out there who are also willing to hit, and be physical. So that's why I think the development of the safety position within this scheme is so critical.
What do you think Tommy and Steele have done to solidify themselves?
Tommy is the quiet leader of the defense. He studies and he shows up like he knows what to do. He rarely makes mistakes. He's human. Every now and then he will. And Steele, I think, just has a confidence a little bit more than the other guys. The confidence because he's played. You can see that. He's played. He's kind of battle tested.
Jim, as you're going through camp here, but as you start preparing for the teams that are on your schedule, how much are you thinking about when you might have three linebackers on the field against some of the teams that you're going to face early in the year? Is it not the time for that?
No, it's the time. Yeah, no, it's the time. We've been using it some, but like I said, we've also been experimenting with some things with Court and Lathan, are a couple safeties that may be able to get the job done without bringing in another linebacker. You know what I mean? So there's development at the safety position that may not make that quite as urgent.
How do you strike the balance between wanting to get those best 11 on the field, wanting to have starters you trust, and then also wanting to get other guys on the field who maybe deserve the ball?
Yeah, it's you got it. That's why you go during camp. That's why you try to get as many reps as you can to get 1s, 2s, 3s. Early on 4s, you're trying to get guys seen in reps. But this is the Ohio State, so those guys, they have to earn the right to play. So you kind of give them chances when you can, but people have to earn the right to play.
Jim, you talked about creating that moment of confusion and doubt in the quarterback. Have you seen in camp so far that that's happening, that you're going to be able to do that?
Sometimes I think that we've been challenging our offense, but we have the best quarterback in the country and the most dynamic offense and the best coaches. So it's a challenge, but we're fighting. We're fighting a good fight, and you can see signs all the time that we're elevating the level of the defense to meet the offense.
Hey, we've talked about you spent all your time trying to create that split second. When that happens, what's that feeling like you?
Typically I'm watching the coverage during that time, so I'm not as focused on the pass rush unless it's a blitz or something. But if it's just our 4-man rush package, Coach Johnson does a great job with that. So I'm focused on the coverage. So it's kind of a cool feeling because you have a mental clock in your head, and then when that kind of tick goes off, you look at the rush and it's just, collapsed. And we're not hitting our quarterback, but you can see where the pocket's collapsed. Somebody's come clean, but a lot, we'll still let the quarterback scramble and throw the ball, and sometimes they'll make a completion, and then you go back on film and you say, oh, we could have had him, because we're not tackling the quarterback. So that's a good feeling too. But I just like to see the coverage executed enough so that the rush can go home. So that's kind of what I'm more focused on.
I watch that video. Who is somebody up front that's really caught your eye this preseason? I mean, obviously y'all haven't practiced real football too much yet. But
I'll be honest with you, there are so many of them, it's hard to single them out,
Has anyone taken a stride since the spring in your mind?
I don't know. I mean, my expectations are so high for that group, and I thought they did really well during the spring, and I thought they've all just continued to grow, Now, we're knocking some people back inside, I guess, which is really good to see with Jerron and Tehran. I mean, I guess if we can point out one thing, there are times when you see that line of scrimmage go backwards against a great offensive line, so I guess that's really promising.
When you hear Ryan Day say he wants a top 10 defense, what goes through your mind on that, and what about this defense makes it capable of being top 10?
What goes through my mind is that, I wish he would have said top 5, because that's what we expect, We talk about having a silver bullet defense, to mirror the traditions that have been around here. We're talking about, I tell the guys that means top 5, and that's what we're pressing for. But no, I mean, really nothing goes through my mind other than it's great to be at the Ohio State because the expectations are high, and that's what I've always wanted.
How much do you enjoy this time here? The install, the teaching, the elementary stuff?
It's great. I mean, it's my life. I mean, it's passion. It's constant. It's no sleep, or when you do sleep, you're running through schemes and installations in your head. It's running from practice to watch the film, to get it broken down, to get the teaching points to the guys, to putting together the presentation. It's nonstop. There's never a boring moment, and that's a great way to live.
I know you said Tommy's kind of the silent leader of the defense, but from a mental IQ perspective, who do you feel like is the guy that's pushing the envelope from the mental side of the game?
Ronnie, I think Ronnie is more of the vocal leader and more of the guy who runs things from the middle in terms of the adjustments. I think he does a great job. Tanner obviously knows the system, so he's helping out. But Tanner from the nickel position is not going to be the guy who really is the major interior, adjuster. That's why we call Ronnie's position the adjuster. So he's starting to really see it and learn it, and be able to get us in the right formation.
Marty, why were Cam and Jansen the guys that you looked at corner, and how did they look?
I just asked. I asked the coaches, and the coaches talked about it, and between Perry and Tim, they decided those are guys that have exhibited that kind of foot quickness and speed and athleticism to fit the corner position. And now again, I thought they looked pretty good. I really do.
What have just been your impressions of Cam? Because he's a guy that comes in with a pretty interesting background, being a quarterback in high school, and then kind of playing all over the secondary.
Yeah, very impressive. I was impressed with him since I first saw him. I think he's got a quickness, he's got a toughness, he's got a mental attitude and fortitude. He's a guy who's a playmaker, and focused, and doesn't get upset, doesn't panic. Makes a play, comes back, makes another one. Doesn't say much, but you can see he's locked in.
Like a football awareness? I mean, does it show up in a guy like
Oh yeah, the guy he understands everything. I can't remember him really making a mistake at all. He's quiet, but I mean he understands everything. He's always locked in. He's always 100% locked in.
Did you expect a guy like Coach, who seems pretty versatile as a linebacker, as a safety, to
Is that kind of the ideal guy for you to have depth in your safety room?
I think
when
it,
you put him
yeah,
in?
I think it makes a big difference, right? And to have that kind of player makes a big difference because we should be able to adjust to him to bigger sets. You know, maybe without putting in another linebacker because he can do it.
In terms of moving guys between safety and corner, does Perry's recent experience with the cornerbacks coach, does that help making those decisions?
Yeah. So they're all together in the back end. We got two great coaches and a lot of good guys to help them, and they've all coached. You know, Tim and Perry, they've all coached it all. So they do a great job of really sticking together on it and talking and communicating.
Where have you seen C.J. Hicks grow?
CJ. I mean, man, his upside is fantastic. You know, he really has a great quickness and athleticism that you don't see out of many linebackers at that size. So it's just a matter of how quickly can he learn, get himself up to speed, so that he can use those tools. Sometimes when you're thinking too much, you can't use your tools, right? So we'll just keep working with CJ so that he gets it down so he can really cut it loose. But I think his upside is going to be amazing.
I know it's kind of early here, but just early impressions on Sonny Styles.
Oh, I love Sonny. Great. Sonny's really been impressive. I mean, he's a guy, again, who studies, learns, always in there. And you know, he ripped the ball out. I mean, he literally ripped the ball out from the running back the other day. You know, playmaker, showing up in the right, picking things up. You know, sometimes you see young guys, and until you ask me, I don't ever remember yelling at him except for positive things. You know, I don't remember him making a mistake. And for a young guy, that's fantastic. So I think Sonny's going to be great.
As a schemer, a guy with that athletic frame and some of the stuff you were just talking about there, I guess, like, what goes off in your head when you're trying to scheme?
I mean, yeah, all kinds of stuff, right? I don't want to put it too much on him yet because I want to get him into the flow. But in terms of the future, it's going to be bright and it's going to be a lot of fun with the things we're able to do with him.
Does it blow your mind he's supposed to be going into his senior year of high school in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think about it till you bring it up, but it does. That's kind of mind blowing, and he has a great maturity, just above his years.
Where do you see him settling in at this point?
Too soon to tell. He's going to be a secret weapon.
Are you still looking at that Jack position? You did that a little bit in the spring.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're still looking at it. We're working on it. We're doing a lot of different things with it, and it's been great. It's been really the guys that picked up on it. They love it, and it's been exciting.
With Mitchell Malcolm getting hurt in the spring game and not having him available, have you had to?
Yeah, I really liked Mitch at that position. I think he'll be great at it. But we got plenty of depth. We got plenty of depth there without Mitch.
How far along are you in terms of overall installation of the defense at this point?
25%.
How do you make up 75%?
It goes. It's increasing exponentially daily. That's why it's the go, right? We don't stop.
I know that, in the spring you said you don't want guys tackling to the ground every game. You guys did do tackling in the spring game. Kind of how are you balancing that in camp?
Yeah, that's really up to Coach Day. He has the pulse of the team, He's the architect. I'm just a builder, I get to build a good portion of the house, but he knows. So he'll tell us when it's time to tackle, if it's time to tackle. But I would think we'll get a couple shots at it this fall camp.
Are you getting to places with this defense and this personnel that you didn't get to at Oklahoma State? I mean, just how
early on, yeah, it took me some time to get to where we're at Oklahoma State. We got here and past here where we're at, but I mean we got to this point at the Ohio State much faster than we did at Oklahoma State.
Does that force you to adjust as a coach? I mean, is it easier or harder for you knowing that you have these extra pieces? Or
no, I think it's. I mean, nothing is easy, and I don't. But I just feel like it's just more accelerated. You know, I mean, it's like driving 75 or driving 90. You're just going faster. And it's fun. That's for sure.
Jim, do you ever marvel that you put something down on paper or on the schematic, and X's and O's, it looks like this, but then you get human beings, young guys, to go out and do that, get to that point, but also finish it. You know what I mean? The physical aspect of the game. Is that a little bit humbling, or how would you explain what that feels like to see guys sell out.
I marvel at it every day. Every day. I have the best job in America. Yeah, you can put something down on paper, you scheme it up, and then you go and you watch it work. And immediate feedback. Sometimes you watch it not work, and you beat yourself up. But when you see it work, it's a beautiful thing.
Is there such thing as a football mentality, though? You've been around coaching for a long time. I mean, you see it in these guys.
Yeah, you see it. I do see it. I see it across the board. I've said this before. It's just these guys were hungry. They were they're tired of being pointed at, as being deficient in any way. They came here as the best players in the country, and they expect to play. They're just soaking it up. They want to be coached. They're like, hey, tell us how to get there. And then their football acumen really across the board is great. I mean, they all understand the game and they all understand concepts. Pick them up quickly.
Did you decide whether or not you want to put out a package that has more traditional backers or something where maybe use a guy like Court who's a little more versatile? Like, what are the merits, I guess, of doing each of that? And how do you decide when?
Well, I feel like if you have a safety in there, then you still look like you're in your base defense, so the offense doesn't know what to expect as much. Strength and honor. But when you substitute, right, now your package becomes limited. You know what I mean? So I think if you keep your base people or some version of it, you have a better opportunity to be multiple.
Have you had many guys like a Court who can kind of function as both a backer and a safety in that kind of way that you've been able to?
I mean, I've seen them over the years, but not to Court's level. I think he can be great.
You talked about Lathan he's coming off an injury. What about Proctor? How's he progressing?
Proctor, sky is the limit. He's progressing very rapidly. He's very talented. He could be the best in the country.
Why Ronnie Hickman at the adjuster?
He has a confidence about him. He's developed it here through his career. You talk to Coach Mick. I talked to Coach Mick a lot about guys when I first got here. You talk to Coach Mick, and this is a guy who really came here one way and is now completely different. And he's like locked in, iron Buckeye. So that's who you want to be that adjuster.
Jim, what's this right now with Jalen Johnson and how much he can help at corner?
Too soon to tell.
Jim, what did Ty Hamilton do to get recognized after the first day of camp?
Oh man, he was just making plays all over the field. When you're winning your one-on-ones and you're chasing the ball and you see his feet and his get off. You just kind of stood out.
We talk a lot about Teron and Tyreek and Mike Hall. Where does Ty kind of fit in there?
He's part of that rotation. I mean, I don't know how to describe it except they're all going to play. They're all going to play a lot. It doesn't matter who's first or second because we just want them to keep coming at the offense in waves. He's as good as any of them.
Last question. We talked about Tanner being one of the leaders because he knows the defense a little bit. You've seen him for the last few years. Where has he gotten better?
He's gotten better. Yeah, Tanner's gotten better, and that's why he came here. Tanner and I talked about that when he came. He wanted to improve his game. So he came here because he's going against the best in the country every day and the best offense, and he's raised his level a lot just by going against those guys every day. That's what he wanted. That's what he and I talked about, that he could benefit from this situation.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.